Thanks, everybody. So, the most powerful story in your life is the story you tell yourself about yourself. I think in 2026, that's one of the hardest things to do, because everywhere you look, everyone is selling you the illusion that everything in life is perfect. And when this topic came up, I thought it might be a little silly for me to give this speech, because honestly, I was really fortunate growing up. I was born in Erie. I walked to school at Chestnut Hill Elementary School every day. I had a lot of friends, lived in a nice house. Overall, I was a pretty happy kid. Got good grades, all that stuff. The only adversity I ever faced was about second grade when they told me I had attention deficit disorder and prescribed some new drug called Ritalin. Everything was great until I was about 12 years old. When I was 12, my mom had a complicated hip surgery. And being the early 90s, they prescribed prescription narcotic painkillers for her. And pretty much from that point on, my mom was as much of an opioid addict as anybody you'd meet on the street doing heroin. We moved to Fairview, we changed schools, we did a lot of things to try to make things better. One of my first memories of school after that is being here at Fairview High School and being completely lost in 9th grade algebra. I felt like a loser. I told myself I was a failure. But at home, my mom was pretty suicidal, depressed, or passed out all the time. It was a really, really hard time. And that was the story that I told myself, that I was failing. From that point forward, my grades went downhill. My junior year of high school, I missed 40 days of school. My parents got divorced, and I wanted to find a way out of here. So I took my 2.2 GPA after I graduated. I went to Ohio State University. Somehow I got into college. The following fall, I wanted to get a little farther away. So I visited a friend in Colorado, packed up the car, and enrolled in school in Colorado. The following fall, I wanted to get a little farther away from Erie after that, so I studied abroad in Australia. And I realized when I was in Australia that if I kept going, eventually I'd just come back around the other side. There was nowhere else left to go. So I had gone all the way around the world. I had gotten as far away as I possibly could. I graduated college, moved to Washington, D.C., lived and worked there, but back home, there was always somebody dealing with something. There was always something here. There was always a call about financial issues, or a car being wrecked, or someone falling asleep while smoking cigarettes, something like that. It was a really, really hard time. And during the 2008 financial crisis, my father called. My father ran a business here in Erie, and he said, "Do you want to come back to Erie?" He was going through his own personal drama at the time. And everybody in my life then said, "Why would you do that? Why would you go back to this place that you tried so hard to get away from?" And to be honest with you, I didn't have a good answer. And I told myself that maybe that was a compromise, or maybe that was selling myself short, or maybe that was a way to take a shortcut in life. But it gave me a sense of purpose. So I came here. I got involved in the business, and I learned that actually I was pretty good at this job. I learned I liked the chaos in my job. I learned I liked solving problems every day. I learned that I wasn't built for a cubicle. I learned that my superpower was keeping my head up straight, even when there was all kinds of chaos around me. And that was something I got from all those years of chaos growing up. And I was so grateful for that. Meanwhile, there was other stuff. My mom, who was going through all these things, she got evicted from apartments. She ended up in a rehab center for convicted criminals. And it was the best thing that ever happened to her. So of all the things that happened, the one thing that I was always grateful for was that she never died. And recently, I came back here to Fairview, and I asked them for a transcript from my high school grades. And it was smart and stupid at the same time. I graduated in 1998, and I looked at my high school transcript, and I felt this wave of embarrassment and shame all over again, like I had wasted all these years, or I hadn't lived up to my potential, because that's what I had been told back then. I'm 46 years old, and I was worried that I got a D in 10th grade English class, And I realized that this is the story that I had told myself about myself. And it took me a long time to accept that I had carried things that other people hadn't carried. And I know we all carry things, but that was the thing that I carried. And I was so afraid that I was making excuses for myself that I confused failure for survival. And survival isn't failure. In fact, survival is success. And when you survive something and you come through it on the other side, it teaches you who you are. And when you learn who you are, you get to tell yourself a better story about who you are. And so that story is the most important story that you can tell yourself. It's the story of you. And sometimes the difference between resilience and failure and resilience is just the story you tell yourself when everything is all done at the end. Thanks.